Implicit Bias back on the air. This is hour 2. I'm your host, Kevon Bordelon. It is election 2024 aftermath here in the Mr. Lester's top secret podcast lair located somewhere in downtown Lafayette. The crew that we have with us this week, of course, we have the Implicit Bias pledge, Walker Griffon. We don't like him enough to show him on camera. So we're going to go to the crew that we do like enough to show on camera. Well, everybody except for one. I'll let you figure out who. Let's start at the bar. We have the drip, Mike Trammell. You like that one, Mike? Yeah. Oh, there we go.
We got it.
He likes it. The drip. Okay.
No, with Ritter tonight, there's no drip.
Straight flush.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
He is
Speaking-
fast tonight.
Speaking of Ritter, that is Lee Ritter at the bar sitting with Mike Trammell, and I don't want to know what's going on up there. We're just going to stay away from that. Ritter, it's good to have you back with us, and boy, you are amped up tonight.
It's
We know
good.
this.
Look, hey, man, it's post-election. Things are happening. Holidays are coming. It's all good.
Yeah, it is. And I love that holidays are around the corner because already, like what we saw, Merry Christmas already up at Target. And that's a sore spot with me because we haven't had Thanksgiving yet. Christmas stuff is not supposed to come out until after Thanksgiving, and it was the day after Halloween, and it's all up, and that's just a problem.
That's a big retail thing they got going on right
I know
now.
it is, and it's a problem.
It's it's designed to make you spend money.
This is my shock face. What, Ritter?
And this is the guy who has a retail store.
Yeah,
If he doesn't have Christmas music playing like
I don't.
shotgun
Not
shells,
right now. Not right now. I refuse to do it. Like, and we get all the emails and the stuff saying, "Hey, do it this way," and I just don't want to.
Look, you can resist it. It's futile when you sell more guns in October and November because you play the music.
Well, here's the deal. He probably sold an awful lot of guns leading up until the election because, let me tell you, you want to talk about the people who are the best gun salesmen on the planet? It's Democrats, isn't it, Caleb?
Well, we had what we called the Trump slump, which was where all our sales slowed down and everything else whenever Trump was in office. And look, for someone who voted for Trump, voting for him, and I'm not going to say it was bad for my industry, but it definitely would be bad for my pocketbook because when you look under Biden, sales were good. Under Obama, they were phenomenal. And just the left, because of what they symbolize, there's a lot of fear behind that. And when people are afraid, they want to be able to protect themselves. But I would much rather have a secure nation and a prosperous nation than 2 years of great sales.
But I'm curious, do you think the liberal states, do you think they stock up?
No. Oh, well, yes. Yes.
Like when a Republican president's in office?
Not when a
do you think it's
not when a
opposite?
Republican president's office. So the gun shops that I know that are in the blue states, that kind of stuff. As we progress and as elections come forward, they sell a ton. I know people who were up in the Connecticut area, Pennsylvania area, that before the election, there were lines 100, 200 yards outside their door.
But because you have liberal bastions or pools, right? Like that vote for those states. There is probably 40, 35, 50% or so that don't. I'm sorry. I need to turn the microphone. Sorry. I thought Trammell was going to come back in, so I was leaning in hard. But the whole point of it is, I guess, like you're saying, Caleb, is 50-50, right? Just because the state goes blue doesn't mean the other 50% don't buy.
Well, and
right?
two.
I mean, think about it.
Yes, the big cities are the ones who are.
Well, and there are certain players in my industry that they started stocking up a year ago. Like when I say stocking up,
They were anticipating the sales in manufacturing.
We brought in extra ammunition, all this kind of stuff, but they brought in millions of dollars of merchandise just for this election. And the sales didn't have the uptick they expected. That's why right now, through certain vendors, you're seeing sales on items that are 1% over my dealer cost. Ooh. So they have all this excess because they hoped that people would just be running ragged through the streets trying to protect themselves. But in the reality of it is we're all too financially and fiscally strapped.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you don't have, after COVID, I made sure I had at least 1,000 rounds for each hunting rifle, for my hunting rifles, because it got hard to find 7 mag. And if you want to be truly independent from the government, learn to provide for your own family meat, vegetables, and water. But these are all things that the government's going to tax you more on. When you look at going to the big box stores and everything else, look what a bottle of water costs now.
So there's something we need to pull on here, and that's fantastic that you're talking about these things, but you actually made the comment that it probably cost you money to vote the way you voted.
Oh, yes.
It's an interesting correlation. Anybody catch would all of a sudden are about to go away now that Donald Trump has been elected? What all of a sudden went like Kaiser Soze? What just disappeared? We got this headline in the aftermath of the election.
When they start talking about the income tax and everything else.
Well,
and what they're planning
I'm not
to do,
talking
or-
income tax. I'm not talking
Are you
all
talking
that.
about the threats upon democracy in America that we have
I'm not
right
talking
now?
about that. I'm
Charges.
give Trammell a ring of the bell. All of a sudden,
I knew he was on it.
all of a sudden, you're hearing Jack Smith saying, yeah, I think we're going to dismiss this case. The DOJ is going to let this go away. Mershon, whose daughter made millions and millions of dollars from Democrats, is all of a sudden expected to potentially vacate a conviction on 34 counts.
But wait,
This is the really interesting part of that, and this is where we have to go with this.
who's the lady, the prosecutor in New York that came
Letitia
out?
James.
She came out and doubled down though.
Well,
Did you
but-
not notice? She's like, "We're going to proceed with American values," and da-da-da. And I was like, "Whoa."
Okay, so-
did you wake up?
This actually ties into a show we did before the election,
Okay.
which is you may not like it, but you at least have to respect the conviction to the lie. What I do not respect is, you know what? If Trump really broke the law, like Jack Smith says he did, and like Mershon says he did, then you keep going. What this tells you is, number one, these people have zero principles. Number two, the charges were always BS.
It was all fabricated. It was always a headhunt.
Or was thin charges that they were pushing to make major charges that a lot of them were just misdemeanors, and you're sitting here and you're going,
Not even misdemeanors.
yeah, you're like it's a paperwork error. You pay a fine. You do these sorts of things. You get your slaps. You do this. You do this. But because the man's running for president, and he has run for president, and he does what he says most of the time, like people are scared.
Or it is true totalitarianism. Right? The saying became famous in Russia under Stalin, bring me the man and I will show you the charge, right? And that's where we are. Letitia James is literally saying, and she said, we will use the law to do whatever we want. No. The law is supposed to be guardrails.
It's
To
indifferent.
keep society inside of where it needs to be. The law is not supposed to be a weapon unto itself. And therein lies the point. That's how it was used. That's what we now know. What we now know is that the laws that were out there were being utilized to try and stop you, right? If you go back to the monologue, to stop the meek from inheriting what was theirs. That's what it was used for. Because look, to go back to where we voted, and we were going down a good rabbit hole, and we kind of went back to where we were. We can go back wherever after this. But this is important. People did not vote, make no mistake, and some people may have, but the majority of people did not vote for Trump. They voted for the principles that he is representing. That's what they voted for.
Well, in this time, how many people did he surround himself with that we are as people who are conservative are
Look at the growth.
excited.
Look at
are
the
just
growth we
excited.
had
Look
with
at the
that.
people he brought under the tent. Look at RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard. You got Elon Musk, richest man in the world. You've got young people. You've got excited people that come in and say, you know what? I don't care for Orange Man bad, but look at all these other people I'm excited about. I drive a Tesla. I want to see what this guy's going to do and throw rockets at Mars now. I'm down, you know?
That's really the big point, right? The big point is it's about the principles. Because look, do I agree with RFK on a lot of stuff? No. But do I agree with RFK? And RFK threw this out there. I loved when RFK actually put on X, hey, here's what we're going to take a look at. If you're part of the FDA and you are doing these things, number one, be prepared to defend yourself. Number two, pack your bags because you're out.
And keep your documents. He
Yes,
said that.
that
He
was
was
the
like,
big one.
and don't destroy your document. He was like, and don't forget,
Because
Daddy's watching.
Because guess what? Destroying the documents, that's a criminal offense.
Turns out,
Unless you're Hillary Clinton.
yeah, unless you've got
what
hammers and
server?
boots.
Let's go
what
back.
server did you
We'll
have?
go back to that because that's unless you're her. You know, I saw that. Don't
Well,
worry.
but then again, this is the really interesting part, and this is a rabbit hole. We'll see how long this goes and how far this can go. So if I commit a crime that has a statute of limitations of 2 years, correct?
Criminal.
And we're 4 years down the road. Can you prosecute me for it?
well,
What
unless
state are you in?
unless you're New York
on.
and you change the
Yeah,
law just
Hold
for
on,
one time.
hold on. No, I'm talking.
one
I'm
person.
talking straight law. I commit a crime. Statute of limitations
Nope.
2 years. Can you prosecute me for
I
it?
didn't
Nope,
stay in a
not
hotel.
supposed to.
Did you stay in a Holiday Inn Express? I'm not a
Unless-
lawyer. but
unless I do what? Unless I actively attempt to continue to conceal said crime
right.
over that 2 years. What happens? Every time I do something, what happens to the
reset-
statute of
reset-
limitations?
So yeah, so you reset it, right? Correct.
So what we're potentially hearing is if I had a server that the statute of limitations was 4 years on, and I have paid money to actively try and conceal that over the course of 4, 8, 10 years,
Look,
could I still be prosecuted for it
They-
today?
that family has more baby oil on them than P. Diddy, right? Good luck making anything stick there.
But if he wanted to prosecute him, he would have. He would have done it the first 4 years,
Nope.
and he
Nope.
didn't.
Nope.
I don't
Nope.
think
Nope.
that's
Nope.
coming.
Nope.
I really
Nope.
don't.
I disagree.
I think that ship has sailed. I think he's got bigger fish to fry and move this country forward. That's where I'm at. I think it's over.
disagree with that.
Y'all think he's going?
I think he's coming out there.
Okay, so here's this is part of the election. So I said scorched earth, right? People ask me. As a matter of fact, Dylan Galatas of William S. Snake Jewelers was on the show, and we did implicit ballots. And he said, "Look, where does my generation go?" He's 26 years old. Where does my generation go? And I said, "Tell you where your generation goes: scorched earth." So I need to clarify because I don't want people getting the wrong idea about this. When I say scorched earth, I don't mean scorched earth on the brainwashed. I mean scorched earth on the brainwashers. And here's why. Because if you don't go scorched earth on them now, they're gonna keep popping their heads up and you're gonna play whack-a-mole, as opposed to what you have to do, which is you have to go after, and we talked about this in hour one, the CBSs of the world that aren't telling the truth. They're trying to convince you of something that's a lie. You have to go after the people who are actively participating in blackmail schemes to manipulate the government. You have to go after the people that are being paid by foreign governments that are currently employed by or have been elected to office in the United States government. You have to go after them. Because if you don't, you've set the precedent again that it's okay. I'm not saying you go scorched earth after the poor person who believes all the garbage that they've been telling you, but the person who orchestrated it, the person who organized it, you have to. You have to in order to make sure that this country moves forward in a direction that helps not just the people who are crying today and the people who are upset today, but helps the people who see through it all.
I don't know if I can't go that route. But that's just me, and that's why it's my bias.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's going to happen with the country. I think the people around Trump that would have said go for it are gone, and I think the people he's put around him are from the other side of the aisle, and they're going, we can do better. Let's just move on. She's not coming back. He's not coming back. He's 84. He's 78. They're going to die in 4 to 6 years. That's just me and my generation, right? Like, why did we prosecute people and put them in jail and die in jail? We already know they're out of politics. If we can just eliminate them from politics like that, then I'm okay. Just let them be.
But Trump's a proud man. You don't think he's going to come back on that?
Well, and that goes into,
I don't know.
Pride is something that we have to overcome. And I think the man we see today also realizes some of the faults that he has and how he's progressed past it. But it goes to the saying, do you want your enemies to be defeated or do you want them to know that they have been crushed?
See, that's it. That's it. Live that life knowing that you never come back, than to be defeated, get angry, and come back and avenge you, right?
So it's drawing that line. It's like, and look, having justice is one thing, right? But if we go after everyone for everything that in politics who's wronged everyone else,
You're not going to get everyone and everything.
No.
You can't.
No,
That's
it's
impossible. But at certain levels, accountability and justice, and he has talked about a lot, justice in his campaign speeches, in his acceptance speeches. I mean, the word justice is out there. And justice, to render each his due, is a big thing. Now, to Ritter's point, does everyone have to know that justice happened?
Well,
That's a big
look. What I love to see,
differentiator.
what I love to see her pay for what she's done. What I love to see her pay for Benghazi and everything else. Hell, fucking yeah. Sorry,
You're going to have to edit that.
but
There it is.
but
There it is.
do I think she's going to?
No. But here, to that point,
Sorry.
his legacy to me is the 9 justices, right? Like, we got we got great justices last time. He's
Yeah.
got 4 years, right, to shift us down with 2 or 3 more conservative constitutionalists that believe in the 10th Amendment. Those sort of things. That to me is better than just avenging people left and right. That's
Well-
me. I'd rather have the long-term win.
I am going to avenge everyone because Walker's giving us the 1 minute finger. And that means we got to take a break. So we're going to come back. We're going to continue hour 2. And we're going to go deeper into the fact that some people still just don't get it. But you do because you're implicit bias.